So here's an interesting thing that I was in a meeting 2 weeks ago, and someone brought up a super interesting point that I want to talk to you about because I know it's something that I'm interested in your input. They said that part of the product innovation process now is supply chain creativity. And I thought that was really interesting because historically we've thought of product in a vacuum, right?
Sure.
Product is product.
Sure.
What do you think of that? Do you cause I wasn't convinced at the moment, and then I've thought about it since. And do you feel like supply chain can actually, like, creating a supply chain advantage can be part of a product innovation?
That's actually interesting. I I could see cost benefits coming from that, involving supply chain, only because of, when you're talking about space and volume and containers. I could see the benefit in that. But
like packaging engineering.
Yeah, I could see that becoming more of a value added in that product. When they're talking about this product innovation stuff. But can supply chain add value from other perspectives? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Typically, what you said, supply chain is not involved at all.
Right.
In the product and in the concept or the idea of a product. But if there's better ways to package that product, better ways to make it more secure, or I can see that being
right.
More of a benefit from a supply chain perspective.
So I think what they were talking about more was just part of a value, an innovative value of the product is kind of having it located specifically where it was needed, when it was needed, in what quantities, right? So it was more of a, taking the planning and, final stage logistics processes and involving that in the value proposition of the item. So, yeah, here's the product, but, and here's our costing. But this costing is not based on, FOB LA. Mm-hmm. This costing is based on FOB 15 different points across North America, and within one max 2-day transit time to any one of your locations. Is that part of a product innovation? And initially I thought not really product innovation, but it would be interesting. I could see how that might be spun that way.
Yeah, that's from that perspective. I could definitely see supply chain adding value, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not the product people that are looking at,
right.
Having the right product at the right place or how to get it to market quicker, and it's really not their main focus, right? And that is like a supply chain thing, right. where they move the product. So yeah, from that perspective, I think there's definitely some opportunity there.
And I think because his thought at that moment, when he made that statement, the person I was talking to, he had just finished a meeting with a buyer, and he said for the first time in his career, his buyer spent more time talking about what they could do with their supply chain than what the innovations on the product were. Mm. And to him it was shocking,
right?
And he thought, wow, I can't believe I haven't spent more time innovating my supply chain. And he said, now I'm looking at my product and I'm looking at my supply chain. Both of them, the innovations are tied.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, that's a very good way of looking at it, though.
Right.
A very, very good way of looking at it, because at the end of the day, everybody knows, retailers want, okay, how fast can I get it, right? So by implicating supply chain at a very early level, just to strategically how you're going to get the product there, it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm not sure I would call it,
innovation. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
That's what held me up too. Is that I don't think that's the right term,
mm-hmm.
but I think it is something that is going to be more and more prevalent in buyer meetings and like merchandising meetings, where you're talking about, okay, looks good. I like your selection. I like the analytics that you provided to show what would sell, how we merchandise it. All looks good. Now, how am I going to get it? What kind of stock position
mm-hmm.
are we looking at? What is our lead time?
Right.
Like, what else are you offering?
Right. I guess it all ties into the conversation we just had about the channels, right?
Right.
As well. I mean, talking how fast we get it here, or the best way to get it here, and it all ties in
Right.
nicely with that.